Hey there, this is Jared Giannatasio, and this is the Maine HR Compliance series, another fun-filled episode on a Monday morning. Basically, this Thursday we've got a great seminar coming up at the DoubleTree in South Portland on wage and hour, and Jordan Payne Hay, a lawyer from Skelton, Taintor Abbott will be the featured speaker. But before that, I had a chance to interview Jordan, about the subject that she's going to be talking about on Thursday. Because really, what she's going to be talking about is the federal minimums related to wage and hour, and also all of the main regulations that go on top of those federal minimums. And one of the things that a lot of people think is that when it comes to wage and hour, that if you pay a particular employee a salary, that you don't have to pay them overtime.
That is not true, but it's a very common misconception that we're seeing a lot lately. Sometimes if an employee is, let's say, they're the bookkeeper, and they're paid a salary, a lot of employers are thinking, okay, well, exempt salary, you don't have to pay them overtime. But it's really a three-part test, and so that's one of the things we're going to talk about on October 18th. The first part is really a math problem. Are you making, in Maine, it's $519 per week. At the federal level, it would be $455, but we'll focus on Maine. And then, are you making a salary? That's two. And the third one, which is really the most important, is, although all three of them go together, is are you performing exempt job duties? Is your work, does it fall under the many different Department of Labor exemptions that have been laid out? And one of the key factors in determining whether or not someone is in fact performing exempt work is whether or not they have discretion and control over what they're doing. So I use the example of the bookkeeper. That's actually become such a common example that the EEOC has done like little write-ups about bookkeepers. Even if you're paid a salary, even if you're making $519 or more per week, if all you do is follow directions and do things that your managers and your supervisors are telling you to do, you have no discretion to order supplies, you have no discretion to, even make out an Excel spreadsheet, you're not performing exempt work and you really should be paid overtime. So,
Right.
it's a common misconception.
Now, in this area, what's the most common mistake that employers make?
So that's a really good question. I won't say the most common mistake, but something that we're seeing a lot of is when employers are misclassifying what is worked time you need to be paid for. Very recently, we've had a lot of questions come up about lunchtime and whether or not an employee should be paid for lunch, and whether or not an employee who, for example, doesn't want to take lunch, can we just deduct 30 minutes or an hour from their pay? Those are really complicated questions, and a lot of them are pretty fact-specific. But in terms of a common misunderstanding of lunchtime and not treating it as timed work is if someone has what we call it here at our office is sad desk lunch. They put in their lean cuisine and they go back to their desk and they're answering emails or they're doing auditing reports. They're really not taking a lunch. They're not relieved from duty. They're working through that hour, so they have to be paid for that hour. You can mandate that an employee take 30 minutes off, totally unplug. They're not allowed to work. They have to go outside or something. We actually can't mandate that they go outside, but mandate that they truly do unplug, because where employers are getting in trouble is they're saying, okay, it's 12 to 12:30, we're just not going to pay you. But if someone is doing work, that's worked time, and they need to be paid for that time. So it's a common mistake, and we're hoping that employers will avoid it after having seen the presentation on October 18th.
All right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for that information. That's a little snippet of what we're going to have on Thursday She's going to do a whole hour on wage and hour, and yeah, so that's going to be great. And then the one that we have after that on November 14th is by popular demand, the Make Your Company an Employer of Choice. And that one's going to be a different format. It's actually going to be three speakers and then a panel discussion. So the three speakers are going to be Rich Brooks, the president of Flight New Media, which is the largest social media firm in all of Maine. He's going to be talking about using social media to make your employer, to make you look like a destination employer, and also to help you fill job requisitions. And also, he's going to focus on two things. One is things that you can do on social media for free, but also things that you can do for a small amount of money, realizing that a lot of you may not have a lot of budget for this kind of stuff. And then the other speaker is going to be Shannon Kaczynski. She's the VP of HR at People's Choice Federal Credit Union based in Saco. And she has won, she's won Best Places to Work in Maine many, many years in a row. So she's going to have a talk on using your company culture to attract talent. And then, of course, the last one, we're going to have a VP from Cross Insurance who's going to talk about having a great benefits plan to increase your talent level, but also what types of benefits attract what demographics, and how to really beef up your benefits without spending a lot of money. So anyways, so those are the three speakers. They're each going to make a brief presentation, and then they're going to be part of a panel discussion. So it's going to be a little longer format than the normal Maine HR compliance series, but you will get two SHRM credits if you attend this one on the 14th. So it's a longer one, but more credits. So anyways, that's what we got coming up. So anyways, thanks you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much. Bye now.